And we have Outbreak, which is a cooperative game where players are going to be fighting back against hordes of zombies. Each player is going to be playing as their own asymmetrical character with their own abilities, and players can also augment their characters by finding or starting with different fortune cards, which will grant you with additional one-time use abilities. The game starts by players building up their city by drawing a bunch of location tiles, which will grant you resources throughout the game, settlements, which help you attack and defend against the zombies, and then also a main base tile, which is where all the players are going to be starting at the beginning of the game. And it's also how players lose the game if it ever gets overrun. In addition to this, players are going to be creating a stack of horde tiles, and the height of the stack is going to be determined by how difficult you want the game to be. But essentially, after you've created your entire city, you're going to be putting horde tiles all around the perimeter. These tiles are going to be where the zombies are spawning, and as the zombies move through your city, those tiles will actually move in with them and overrun the different areas that they move over. If the players can defeat that horde, then that tile gets removed from the game, but then a new tile is going to be added to any open locations around the perimeter of the board at the beginning of each round. If the players can defeat all of these horde tiles before their main base gets overrun, then that is how they win the game. And one small detail that you'll also want to note about these horde tiles is that at the very bottom of them, there's also going to be a boss tile. But like I said, this is a game that plays over a series of rounds with each round representing a different day, but at the start of each round, players are going to be revealing a number of horde tiles around the perimeter of the board. There are a bunch of different types of hordes in this game, and they can all behave a little bit differently. They might move a little bit easier, deal damage a little bit easier, or be a little bit more difficult to kill. But after those horde tiles have been revealed and any of their instant effects have been resolved, you're then going to be moving into the player's action phase, where each player is going to be able to take a couple actions. You'll be able to move up to your movement amount, trade with other players, draw an additional fortune card, which, like I said, grants you with additional abilities. But the important one here is to attack adjacent zombies. And the way this works is that each of the zombies are going to have some amount of resources that you need to discard in order to kill that zombie horde. Luckily, you do get to roll some resource dice, and the amount that you get to roll is going to be determined by your character and any special effects in play. But these are essentially going to act as free resources, and if you're able to roll the resources that you need to defeat that horde, then that's going to be contributing to your attack. But if you weren't able to roll exactly what you needed, you can also spend any resources that you currently have on your character sheet, or any of the resources that any of your teammates have on their character sheet, as long as they are on the same space as you. This is where teamwork really comes into play, because you might be perfectly set up to attack one of the zombie hordes, but you might first want one of the other players to move through some of the different locations to gather the resources that you need, and then end their movement on your tile. This frees you up to use your actions to attack those zombie hordes, making sure that you have additional resources in case you don't exactly roll what you need. Anytime that a zombie horde is defeated, players are going to be gaining experience points, and these are a shared resource that's going to be tracked on the right-hand side of the board. These are really nice to have because another one of the possible actions that you can perform is to spend your experience points in order to use a develop action. This can allow one of the characters to draw a skill card, which can grant them with ongoing special abilities, or instead you could use that develop action to build some sort of building out on the board, which will grant you with all sorts of different area effects, either granting you with additional attack or defense, or giving you the ability to peek at some of these horde tiles before you decide to reveal them. But after all the players have performed their actions, it's going to be moving into the zombies phase, where each of the revealed zombie horde tiles are then going to be activated, which could cause that tile to move closer towards your home base, which, like I said, does cost you the game, but as it's moving there, it's going to be taking over any of the locations that it covers. And if any of your characters are on a location that does get overrun, then you're going to be pushed off that tile, with each of your characters taking a single point of damage. Like I said, each of the hordes do also operate a little bit different from each other, so there might be some other negative consequences as well. But the game continues like this over a series of rounds until the players defeat that final boss, or until they get totally overrun. And if you are interested to check this one out, I will have it linked in the description down below.